Hello my friends, how are you? How was your New Year's Eve? Was it great? As for myself, I was in Dublin, I was watching the fireworks display. It was actually the first time they had the fireworks display over the St. Stephen's Green, which is the Central Park in Dublin. It was great, it was spectacular. So we went there at around 6 o'clock. There was a parade, which was very nice as well. We watched fireworks, came back home, and then continued our celebrations at home in normal home settings. Had lots of tasty food. It was gorgeous, and I had a little bit too much, but I wasn't too bad. I wasn't drinking, so the next morning I wasn't feeling too bad, except for the fact that I had overeaten a little bit, I had overindulged. But anyway, going back to English fluency issues, today I'm going to address one particular question that one of my blog readers is asking me. And he asks me the following question. Is it okay if he focuses on reading English fiction and then summarizing every chapter by way of spoken English practice? Basically, he reads a chapter and then he performs a monologue, so to speak. It's self-practice whereby he summarizes the main events and the main points from the chapter, and that way he improves his spoken English fluency. So he asks if that's okay, if he prefers that to going to websites where he might see English-speaking people as his chat partners. The reason why he doesn't want to do that is because he gets corrected for his bad grammar. So basically he says that they even corrected his introduction, his introductory message, so to speak, and he feels very bad about that because it shatters his self-confidence. He feels that when he focuses on his grammar and getting his grammar right, he feels so overwhelmed that he feels as if all the work he's done so far is done for nothing, And I can actually relate to him, I can relate to him big time. And of course, I'm not going to reveal his name because that'd be unprofessional. That's my standard procedure when it comes to dealing with certain people's queries and questions. I might record a video like this and publish it on YouTube for everyone to see in case you're having the same questions, the same problems, in case this video and other videos of this nature might help to you, but I'm keeping the original person who's asking the question anonymous. It's a standard procedure of mine. So you can feel free to ask me whatever questions you want. You may want to go to my blog and submit your questions and queries on the submission form on the contact page. But anyway, going back to this question, I can actually relate to that person because I actually published a blog post a while back. You might want to check it out. And it's all about pointing out others' mistakes, And the basic point is, if a person asks you to be corrected, go ahead, do them a favor. But if they don't ask you for that, please don't pretend to be the person who knows it all, Don't try to be the professor, correct everyone's mistakes, because there's a good chance that you might bring that person down, They mightn't be confident even as they are, and then you correct their mistake and then it makes them feel very, very bad. I personally never do that unless I'm asked, or unless it's specific circumstances. Say, for instance, if I were to chat to you and we agreed beforehand that you're comfortable with getting your mistakes corrected, then that'd be cool, no problems with that. But unless we had such an agreement in the first place, unless that happens, I wouldn't be doing that, and I wouldn't be personally comfortable with someone pointing out my mistakes in everyday situations either, because by and large we're all aware of our mistakes, because all this English Harmony project is dedicated to those English speakers who already know a lot of English, knowledge, so to speak, passive knowledge, namely vocabulary, also grammar and comprehension is quite good of my audience, so it's only the oral fluency that is of concern. of this whole project, of this whole video blog and all that, you know. So correcting grammar mightn't be as important to you guys as getting your fluency going, getting your overall fluency going, getting your ability to speak English fluently going, you know. And the best way to accomplish that is to focus on the things that you can say, you know. Dismiss all the negative aspects. Don't focus on grammar mistakes, you know. Focus on what you can say. And that will drive you on big time, you know. That will accelerate your improvement. And actually in any life area, you know. It's not exclusive to English fluency improvement. Whatever you're trying to improve, whatever goal you aspire to achieve, you know, whatever is the skill that you're trying to master, if you focus on the positive aspects, on your achievements so far, on the things you can do, if you focus onto those, you know, and use them as your stepping stones for future achievements, you know, setting even higher and higher targets, you know, and ignore all the negative aspects, basically ignore your mistakes, but don't ignore them, of course, which is another thing I've looked at in my videos and in my blog posts. I'm not suggesting you to ignore mistakes in the sense that you should dismiss any advice regarding proper English grammar and keep making the same mistakes all over and over and over again, you know. Of course, I'm encouraging you by all means possible to make mental notes of things that you're not sure of, you know, and then look them up on Google. Obviously, internet is these days the ultimate knowledge base, you know, so I wouldn't be looking any further than the same old Google, you know, just Google up things, and then you'll see, you may want to actually check out this video where I'm discussing the best way of finding naturally occurring speech patterns, you know. So if you're in doubt, Google things up and you'll find out the proper way of saying this or that particular thing, you know. Then just memorize that particular speech pattern and correct your mistakes that way, you know. So I definitely agree with you, my dear blog reader, reading English fiction and summarizing chapters as you read them and focusing on getting your speech going and focusing on things you are capable of saying and building your active vocabulary by repeating and memorizing certain speech patterns from those books is definitely a good way forward, you know. It's definitely a good way to pave your road to your English fluency, you know. And please don't get discouraged by those people who are trying to be smart and correct you, you know. They're just your typical smart arses, you know what I mean? That's, I'm sorry about this profane language, you know, but that's the way we refer to persons who are very smart and they share their advice with people even if they're not asked for it, you know. So basically, it's definitely a good way forward, and if I were you, I would stick to the same old routine you're already engaged into, but also make sure that you engage in a lot of spoken English practicing in other settings, you know, basically narrate your life, do a lot of self-practice, same way you summarize literature, you know, book chapters, same way you can talk about just about anything that crosses your mind, you know, just voice out your thoughts aloud, you know what I mean, narrate your life. And that's what I do personally the whole time, and that's one of the reasons why I've improved my own English, you know what I mean. As for those websites where his introductory message was immediately corrected by some perfectionist, you know, it's probably not the best way, guys, to treat newbies onto those websites, you know. In order to improve fluency, as I already said, we should focus on things we can say, and we should encourage others by pointing out things they're saying correctly, you know, and unless you're asked, leave those imperfections aside ignore them, And if you're participating on one of those websites and you've been engaged in activities like that, please stop doing that, because it may have a very, very detrimental effect on those people's confidence. We mightn't be even aware of that, but confidence is a very fragile thing, so to speak, you know what I mean? It might be rock hard, rock solid one moment, but then a word that's said wrong, may shatter our confidence. We start having the same doubts and self-esteem issues, and our fluency just experiences a terrible setback, and we're back to square one, and we start analyzing our speech way too much, So definitely, the advice I'm giving to you, my dear friend, is keep engaged in self-practice and focus on the things you can say, and try to find someone to speak with who doesn't correct your mistakes, and try to ignore any bad advices, and don't ignore. I'm not telling you should ignore any advice as for your mistakes, You should take them all on board, but do it with a positive mindset, you know what I mean? Try to get rid of that self-defeatist attitude. I know it's easier said than done, but try to ignore that fact that someone is kind of smarter than you, more knowledgeable than you, more fluent than you, We can all find millions of people better than us in all life aspects, There's always someone smarter, stronger, more intelligent, wealthier, healthier, you name it, There is such a person walking the earth at the moment, and not just one, but dozens and hundreds of them. So you have to focus on the good qualities you possess, on the good aspects of your fluency, and that's basically my advice. So thanks guys for watching this video, and I hope that it's going to be helpful for you if you're experiencing the same kind of doubts and the same problems, and see you soon again in another video episode. Bye bye.